Bob Newhart was a master of the deadpan delivery, a comedy legend whose subtle, stammering style created some of television's most memorable characters. From psychologist Dr. Robert Hartley on The Bob Newhart Show to Vermont innkeeper Dick Loudon on Newhart, his genius was in how he reacted to the chaos around him. He made audiences laugh not with punchlines, but with a perfectly timed pause or a look of bewildered exasperation. His influence on stand-up and sitcom comedy is immeasurable. Newhart was a television staple for over 6 decades, a calming and hilarious presence that felt both timeless and unique. His intelligent, gentle comedy made his shows a comfortable escape for millions of viewers who tuned in week after week, solidifying his place as one of the greats. Bob Newhart passed away on May 18, 2024, at his home in Los Angeles at the age of 94. According to his family, his death was due to complications from several short illnesses, a peaceful end to a long and celebrated life. Following his passing, tributes poured in from across the entertainment industry, with peers celebrating his unique talent and kind spirit. In accordance with his wishes, Newhart's body was cremated. His ashes were given to his family, and there is no public grave or memorial for fans to visit. His final arrangements were kept private, a reflection of the low-key and humble way he lived his life. The true monument to Bob Newhart lies in his extensive body of work, the hours of laughter he created that continued to be enjoyed by audiences all over the world. For countless people around the globe, Lucille Ball was television comedy. As the zany and ambitious Lucy Ricardo on I Love Lucy, she redefined the role of women in television, both as a performer and as a powerful studio executive. Her incredible gift for physical comedy, whether stomping grapes or wrestling with a chocolate conveyor belt, has never been equaled. She was a brilliant actress and a fearless clown, creating a character that was both larger than life and deeply human. I Love Lucy was a groundbreaking show, but its enduring legacy is the timeless laughter created by its fiery-haired star. Lucille Ball became America's favorite redhead, a cultural icon whose influence is still felt in every sitcom that graces the airwaves today. On April 18, 1989, Lucy underwent a 7-hour aortic surgery after experiencing chest pains. The operation was initially successful, but just over a week later, on the morning of April 26th, she awoke with severe back pain. She had suffered a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm and died at the age of 77. Initially, her ashes were interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills. However, in 2002, her children, Lucy and Desi Jr., moved her remains back to her birthplace. Lucille Ball is now buried in the Hunt family plot at Lakeview Cemetery in Jamestown, New York. Her simple gray headstone, marked with a heart, reads Lucille Ball and lies beside the graves of her mother, father, and grandparents, bringing the queen of comedy home at last. Every great sitcom bar needs a great bartender, and for the first 3 seasons of Cheers, there was none better than Ernie Coach Pantuso, played with lovable warmth by Nicholas Colasanto. Coach was the sweet, dim-witted but wise former baseball coach who served up drinks and delightfully muddled advice. Colasanto brought a genuine tenderness to the role, making Coach the heart of the show. Before this iconic role, Colasanto was a respected dramatic actor and television director, but his portrayal of the gentle and forgetful Coach is what made him a household name and earned him 3 Emmy nominations. He was the grandfatherly figure that grounded the show's brilliant ensemble cast and provided some of its most memorable, heartfelt laughs. For several years, Nicholas Colasanto suffered from heart disease. His condition worsened during the production of the 3rd season of Cheers, causing him to lose a significant amount of weight. On February 12, 1985, he passed away from a heart attack at his home in Los Angeles. He was 61 years old. The cast and crew were devastated, and his death was written into the show, with the characters mourning the loss of their beloved friend in a touching tribute. Nicholas Colasanto was a proud native of Providence, Rhode Island, and he was returned to his hometown for burial. He rests in St. Anne's Cemetery in Cranston, a suburb of Providence. His final resting place is marked by a simple, upright granite headstone that bears his name, dates, and an inscription acknowledging his service as a U.S. Navy coxswain during World War II. John Ritter was a master of physical comedy, a lanky performer who could get a laugh with a simple pratfall or a double take. He vaulted to superstardom in the late 1970s as the charming and clumsy Jack Tripper on Three's Company. Ritter played a culinary student pretending to be gay to live with two female roommates, and his incredible physical timing was the engine that drove the show's farcical plots, earning him an Emmy and a Golden Globe. After Three's Company, he continued to work extensively, eventually finding sitcom success again with the show 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. As the loving, overprotective father Paul Hennessy, his natural warmth and likability shone through, endearing him to a new generation of viewers. The circumstances of John Ritter's death were sudden and tragic. On September 11, 2003, while rehearsing on the set of 8 Simple Rules, Ritter began experiencing severe chest pains. He was taken to a nearby medical center where he was mistakenly treated for a heart attack. His condition worsened, and it was then discovered that he had an undiagnosed aortic dissection. He passed away during surgery that evening, just 6 days before his 55th birthday. The shocking news stunned Hollywood and his millions of fans. John Ritter was entombed at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills. His crypt is located in the Court of Liberty section of the Hall of Liberty mosaic. A simple bronze plaque marks his final resting place, bearing his name and the heartfelt inscription, "An individual of unusual greatness whose life and talent brightened the world." Known as the man of 1,000 voices, Phil Hartman was one of the most versatile and beloved comedians of his generation. He rose to fame on Saturday Night Live from 1986 to 1994, where his incredible range gave us unforgettable characters like the unfrozen caveman lawyer and his spot-on Bill Clinton. After SNL, he found further sitcom fame as the pompous news anchor Bill McNeil on News Radio, a role that earned him an Emmy nomination. He was also a prolific voice actor, famously lending his voice to characters like Troy McClure and Lionel Hutz on The Simpsons. Hartman was a consummate professional, a comic genius widely admired by his peers for his incredible talent, dedication, and work ethic. He was truly one of the greats. The world was robbed of Phil Hartman's talent in a shocking act of violence. In the early hours of May 28, 1998, he was shot and killed by his wife, Bryn Omdahl, while he slept in their Encino, Los Angeles home. After confessing to friends, she locked herself in the bedroom and took her own life. Hartman was just 49 years old. The news of the murder-suicide sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and left his friends, family, and fans utterly heartbroken. In accordance with the wishes outlined in his will, Phil Hartman's body was cremated. On June 4, 1998, his ashes were scattered over Emerald Bay on Santa Catalina Island, a picturesque cove off the coast of California. There is no public grave or marker, a tragic and ethereal end for a man who brought so much concrete joy and laughter to the world. To a whole generation, James Avery was the formidable yet loving patriarch Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. As Judge Philip Banks, he was the stern, no-nonsense center of the family, who frequently clashed with his street-smart nephew, Will. But beneath the tough exterior was a man of immense warmth, integrity, and humor. Avery's powerful voice and commanding presence made Uncle Phil an unforgettable and iconic television dad. Beyond this famous role, Avery was a classically trained actor with a long list of credits, including a successful career as a voice actor, most notably as the voice of Shredder in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series. He was a versatile and respected performer. James Avery had been dealing with several medical issues for years, including severe coronary artery disease and type 2 diabetes. On November 11, 2013, he underwent coronary artery bypass surgery in Glendale, California. While the surgery was initially successful, he suffered a series of complications in the weeks that followed. On the evening of December 31, 2013, James Avery passed away from cardiorespiratory arrest. He was 68 years old. His death prompted a wave of heartfelt tributes from his Fresh Prince co-stars, who remembered him as the wise and loving father figure he was both on and off the screen. Per his wishes, James Avery was cremated. his family held a private memorial to celebrate his life and legacy. His ashes were then scattered at sea in the Pacific Ocean, a final return to the nature he loved. There is no public grave for fans to visit. Geoffrey Hughes was a beloved British character actor whose face became famous to audiences on both sides of the Atlantic. He was best known for his role as the perpetually unemployed and utterly unkempt Onslow in the classic British sitcom Keeping Up Appearances. As the brother-in-law of the snobbish Hyacinth Bucket, Onslow was everything she despised. Lazy, unrefined, and perfectly content in his messy house, Hughes played the role with a lovable charm, making Onslow a fan favorite who represented the complete opposite of Hyacinth's social climbing pretensions. Before this role, he was also famous in the UK for playing Eddie Yates on Coronation Street and Twiggy in The Royal Family, cementing his status as a cherished television actor. In the 1990s, Geoffrey Hughes was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He believed he had beaten the disease, but it returned in 2010, forcing him to retire from acting. He spent his final years with his wife on the Isle of Wight, a large island off the south coast of England. He passed away peacefully in his sleep on the night of July 27, 2012, after his long battle with the illness. He was 68 years old. His funeral was held at St. Mary and St. Nicholas Church in Newport on the Isle of Wight. He was laid to rest in the church's serene and historic cemetery. The specific location of his grave within the churchyard is not widely publicized, affording a measure of privacy to the final resting place of the actor who brought so much public laughter to the world. Dustin Diamond was an integral part of growing up in the 1990s for many. He was Samuel Screech Powers, the lovable and geeky friend in the hit sitcom Saved by the Bell. He originated the character in the show's predecessor, Good Morning, Miss Bliss, and played him for over a decade through various spin-offs. Screech was the quintessential nerdy sidekick, known for his bizarre fashion choices and unwavering loyalty to his friends at Bayside High. While Diamond's later life was marked by personal troubles, for millions, he will always be remembered as the funny and awkward kid who was a crucial part of one of television's most iconic teen shows, a role that defined his career and a generation of television. In early January of 2021, Dustin Diamond was hospitalized in Florida after feeling pain all over his body. There, he received a devastating diagnosis: Stage 4 small cell carcinoma of the lungs, an aggressive form of cancer. Despite starting chemotherapy, his condition deteriorated rapidly. On February 1st, 2021, just 3 weeks after his diagnosis, Dustin Diamond passed away. He was only 44 years old. His death was a shock to his former castmates and the public, a tragic end for someone who grew up in the public eye. In accordance with his final wishes, his body was cremated. There is no public burial site or grave marker. His ashes were reportedly divided between his father and his girlfriend, to be kept privately as a personal memorial to the actor forever known as Screech. Charlotte Rae was the warm actress who became one of television's most beloved maternal figures, Edna Garrett. She first introduced the character as the Drummond family's quirky housekeeper on Different Strokes, before taking Mrs. Garrett to her own hit spin-off, The Facts of Life. As the house mother at the Eastland School for Girls, she was a patient, wise, and humorous mentor to Blair, Tootie, Natalie, and Joe. She dispensed life lessons and comforting advice, becoming a surrogate mother to a generation of viewers. Ray's performance was the heart of the show, earning her an Emmy nomination and cementing her status as a television icon. She was a gifted performer whose career spanned theater, film, and television for 7 decades. In 2017, Charlotte Rae revealed that she had been diagnosed with bone cancer, 7 years after surviving pancreatic cancer. She chose to forgo aggressive treatment, opting for quality of life. She passed away peacefully at her home in Los Angeles on August 5, 2018, surrounded by her family. She was 92 years old. Her death was met with an outpouring of love and fond memories from her Facts of Life co-stars and fans. Charlotte Rae was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, a cemetery known as the final resting place for many Hollywood stars. She is interred in the Court of Freedom section of the Great Mausoleum. Her crypt is marked with a simple plaque bearing her birth name, Charlotte Rae Lubotsky, and her years of life, a humble final tribute to the woman who was TV's favorite housemother. Mary Tyler Moore was a true television revolutionary. She first captured America's heart as the stylish housewife Laura Petrie on The Dick Van Dyke Show. But it was her role as Mary Richards on The Mary Tyler Moore Show in the 1970s that changed television forever. Playing a single, independent career woman, she became a cultural icon and a role model for a generation of women. Her character's ability to turn the world on with her smile represented a new kind of television heroine. Funny, vulnerable, and professional. Behind the scenes, she and her then-husband Grant Tinker formed MTM Enterprises, producing some of television's best-loved shows. She was a brilliant comedic and dramatic actress who won 7 Emmy Awards for her groundbreaking work. For most of her adult life, Mary Tyler Moore battled type 1 diabetes, becoming a tireless advocate for research. In her later years, she faced numerous health problems. In January of 2017, she was hospitalized in Connecticut and placed on a respirator after contracting pneumonia. She passed away there on January 25, 2017, from cardiopulmonary arrest at the age of 80. A private funeral was held for her family and close friends. Mary Tyler Moore is buried at Oak Lawn Cemetery in Fairfield, Connecticut. Her grave is in a quiet, secluded section of the cemetery, marked by a poignant statue of an angel kneeling in prayer, set atop a polished granite base. The simple inscription on the base bears her name, her birth and death years, and the loving epitaph, "After all." Carroll O'Connor was the actor behind one of the most complex and iconic characters in television history, Archie Bunker. On the groundbreaking sitcom All in the Family, O'Connor played the loud-mouthed and prejudiced working-class patriarch. Archie was a bigot, but O'Connor imbued him with a flawed humanity that made him more than a caricature. The role earned him 4 Emmy Awards and turned the show into a cultural phenomenon that used comedy to tackle serious social issues. O'Connor's brilliant, layered performance was the key to the show's success, forcing audiences to confront their own prejudices. He later found success again playing Police Chief Bill Gillespie on the drama series In the Heat of the Night, showcasing his incredible range as an actor. Carroll O'Connor's life was marked by tragedy in 1995, when his adopted son, Hugh, died by suicide after a long struggle with drug addiction, which spurred O'Connor to become an advocate for drug abuse awareness. A longtime sufferer of diabetes, O'Connor underwent heart surgery in 1989. On June 21, 2001, he suffered a massive heart attack at his home in Culver City, brought on by complications from his diabetes. He was 76 years old. Carroll O'Connor was buried at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. He is interred in a private outdoor mausoleum in the crypt directly above his beloved son, Hugh. The simple marble plaques are side by side, a father and son reunited in a peaceful, secluded corner of the famous cemetery. Jean Stapleton was the brilliant character actress who gave life and a huge heart to one of television's most beloved characters, Edith Bunker. As the long-suffering but unfailingly sweet wife of Archie Bunker on All in the Family, Stapleton created a character for the ages. With her trademark high-pitched voice, Edith could seem naive, a dingbat in Archie's terms. But Stapleton's masterful performance revealed Edith's deep well of kindness, inner strength, and simple wisdom. She was the moral compass of the show, a woman whose profound goodness often managed to pierce through her husband's ignorance. The role was a triumph, earning Jean Stapleton 3 Emmy Awards. She chose to leave the show in 1980, leading to an unforgettable episode where Archie mourns Edith's passing. After a long and distinguished career, Jean Stapleton passed away from natural causes on May 31, 2013, at her home in New York City. She was 90 years old. Her death was mourned by the acting community and by the millions of fans who had welcomed her into their homes as Edith. Her family held a private funeral to celebrate her life. Jean Stapleton was interred at Roosevelt Memorial Park in Chesapeake, Virginia. She was laid to rest beside her beloved husband of 26 years, William Putch, who had passed away in 1983. Their final resting place is marked by a simple, flat bronze plaque set in the grass. It bears both of their names and dates, a humble and lasting tribute to a long and loving partnership and to the incredible actress who brought so much warmth to the world. Sherman Hemsley was the actor who strutted his way into television history as the iconic George Jefferson. First introduced as Archie Bunker's hot-tempered neighbor on All in the Family, Hemsley's character was so popular that he was given his own spin-off, The Jeffersons. For 11 seasons, audiences watched George, a successful dry-cleaning entrepreneur, as he was moving on up to a deluxe apartment. Hemsley's performance was a masterclass in comedic energy. He was arrogant and opinionated, but he also loved his wife, Wheezy. Hemsley's distinctive walk, explosive line delivery, and impeccable timing made George Jefferson one of the most memorable sitcom characters of all time. Later, he found a new generation of fans as Deacon Ernest Fry on the sitcom Amen. Sherman Hemsley passed away at his home in El Paso, Texas, on July 24, 2012. The cause of death was superior vena cava syndrome, a complication related to a cancerous mass on his lung. He was 74 years old. Following his death, a legal battle over his will delayed his funeral for nearly 4 months. Finally, a judge upheld the will, and Hemsley could be laid to rest. Because he was a veteran, having served 4 years in the United States Air Force, Sherman Hemsley was given a military funeral with full honors. He is buried at Fort Bliss National Cemetery in El Paso, Texas. His final resting place is marked by a standard-issue white government headstone, a simple and dignified tribute to the man who brought so much assertive laughter to millions of television viewers. Betty White was more than a sitcom star. She was a national treasure. Her career spanned over 80 years, earning her the title of the First Lady of Television. She had countless iconic roles, but 2 stand out in the sitcom world. First, as the sharp-tongued, happy homemaker Sue Ann Nivens on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Later, and most famously, she played the sweet, naive, and hilariously clueless Rose Nyland on The Golden Girls. Her tales of St. Olaf, Minnesota became a beloved running gag. Betty White's comedic timing was impeccable, and her ability to deliver a punchline with a mix of innocence and mischief was unparalleled. She was a tireless entertainer and a passionate animal welfare advocate, beloved by generations for her talent, wit, and radiant positivity. The world was poised to celebrate Betty White's 100th birthday on January 17, 2022. Tragically, on the morning of December 31, 2021, just 17 days shy of her centennial, Betty White passed away peacefully in her sleep at her home in California. Her death certificate later revealed the cause was a stroke, which she had suffered 6 days earlier. Her agent confirmed that her last word was Alan, the name of her beloved late husband, Alan Ludden. In keeping with her long-standing wishes for privacy, Betty White was cremated. Her ashes were given to her estate, and no public funeral or memorial service was held. There is no grave for fans to visit. Her stated wish was always to be reunited with Alan, making her final resting place a private, personal reunion.